Trash pledge of allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. I'd like to thank everybody for our May 15th, 2024 meeting of the Umatilla County Commissioners. I would like to remind everybody that this is a public meeting. We are being recorded via video and audio per state law. We are also doing a hybrid option for our meeting. I do want to remind everybody, if you do address the board, to come up to the podium if you're in the room and give us your name and address for the record, or just give us your name and address for the record if you're online. Awards, recognitions, or correspondence?
None.
Oh, I can't let this pass. Bob Walder, we had a new contest at Milton Fruitwater Junior Show, and it was the adult livestock judging contest. And we had parents and grandparents and adults lined up to buy those judging cards, $20 a piece. Anyway, Bob won the contest, and out of a perfect score of 400, he was 396.
Wow.
So he did a great job. Yeah.
That's incredible.
So we figured he just flipped a pair, and the cut was so low that, yeah. Anyway, he did a great job, and congratulations. So that was kind of an honor. Done.
Excellent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you. Congratulations. What were you looking for, Bob? Were you looking for anything in particular?
Well, so my kids give me a hard time. They never let me help pick animals.
They will now.
I don't know. We'll see.
Well done. Okay. Any additions? Actually, approval of minutes. We don't have any. No. Any additions to the agenda? Now it's time for public input, recognition of visitors for anything that is not on the agenda. I just heard a hand go up.
You do. You have
Susan
Susan Bird, yes.
Susan, the floor is yours for 3 minutes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, but name and address for the record, please.
Susan Bird, Ukiah, Oregon.
Okay.
Thank you for receiving my public comment. I want to thank you guys and give a shout out to the Umatilla County Roads Department. They have done an excellent job of grading and graveling Hidaway Springs Road. In November of 21, they graded it and graveled it. Put about 4 inches of gravel up on the road. In July of 22, they graded it again. In October of last year, they graded it. And in November, they came and scraped all the gravel off. And then they went over it with some rollers and spiky things. I don't know what they were. And now they're graveling and grading it again. So I think that it's been outstanding, the amount of maintenance and attention, materials and manpower that have gone into maintaining this road that has 2 residents on it. And I do have some questions. I realize you can't answer them now, but my questions are, I assume the county approves the road department projects and expenses. And I was wondering what the relationship is between the county and ODOT, because half the time the guys that are up here are ODOT employees using ODOT equipment, and from them they said using ODOT gravel. I'd like to know where I can see the budget and tracking of these transactions. I'd like to know where the list is of projects for the road department that they submit to you for your approval each year. And I'm curious to know if any other road in Umatilla County has this much maintenance. I think probably following this year's amount of grading and graveling, we should be good for about 20 years. The main maintenance we need up here for the other resident and myself is plowing in the winter, because that's when these roads are difficult to navigate. Appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you for the comments.
Thanks, Susan.
I have a question. Can you repeat the ODOT part again? That didn't, sense.
It doesn't make sense to me either, but they operate, there's an ODOT office or site, or I don't know what you call it, in Ukiah. And that's where your county employees were gathered yesterday. And on 11/16/23, I went up to ask one of the guys that was working on the road. At that time, they'd brought a chipper up and they were chipping little tiny trees along the side of the road. And I talked to him, and that's when I found out that he was not a county employee, he was an ODOT employee. And this was right around the time ODOT announced that it was broke and couldn't maintain any of the roads. And so I was real curious as to why ODOT's maintaining county roads and what that agreement is.
Hey,
with
real
you
quick,
guys.
Susan, this is Dan. And I'll follow up on your other questions, but my question is, I know that you have a relationship with ODOT. Did you ask ODOT?
That's that's who I was talking to. I don't have a relationship with ODOT at all.
But-
That's
But did you ask them why they were doing it?
yeah, and the guy I taped the whole exchange, and he said that they trade back and forth with the county. Because I said something about them being the county, and they said, we're not county. And I said, oh, who are you? Because they're not the only ones that have maintained this road, as you know, Dan. When Nash Contractors LLC was logging on the Willoughby project, they brought their own graders and graded the road also.
Yep.
And they plowed it that winter.
Yep.
They said they had an agreement with you guys. So it seems to be a kind of a free-for-all for maintenance, but I am grateful for the graveling and the grading, but I am aware that there are other roads in the county that need attention. Reith Road is one road in particular that gets a lot of use and is generally pretty tough traveling. So I'd just like you to know, thank you. And let's share the wealth, since there seems to be an abundance of material and manpower out there for maintenance projects.
Thanks, Susan.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Seeing none, we'll go into our first discussion item. It's GEODC projects report.
We have requested time for the board. Update you on the project. Anyone here?
Item 2, CDBG grant agreement with Pendleton.
This relates to a grant that the city of Pendleton applied for and was granted from the Community Development Block Grant. And it is ARPA funding, and it's to reimburse or assist businesses in their expenses or impacts from COVID. They have been operating this since it was approved, and understanding they had an agreement with the county and other cities to do this on a countywide basis. They're realized now that they don't have that agreement, and so now that they're requesting that the county sign an agreement with the city, allowing them to operate this grant process countywide.
And this is no expense to the county.
No expense to the county, and it doesn't impact our CDBG numbers at all.
I move to approve IGA with the city of Pendleton for the grant and authorize the chair to sign.
Motion and second, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Community development grants.
Morning, Commissioners. Bob Walder, Community Development Director. Twice a year, the Economic and Community Development Grant Committee meets to review applications for the county's Community and Economic Development Grant Program. This program is funded through video lottery dollars received from the state of Oregon. And usually we have in the neighborhood of $100,000 to award twice a year. We have a spring cycle and a fall cycle. This, for the spring cycle, we received a tremendous amount of applications, over 25 applications seeking approximately $400,000 in funding. As you know, we don't have that much money available for this program. This cycle, we had about 70,000 that we were able to award. So the committee reviewed applications and selected several different applicants to receive funding this cycle. You might recall in previous cycles, we've really funded heavily on the community development side, projects like parks and downtown Main Street improvements. This cycle, the committee seemed to focus more on the economic development side of things and supporting some of these businesses that have applied. Things like building facade improvements, things that would enhance their business. And so I'm going to announce the recommendations here of the committee. So, yeah.
Real quick, I mean, I understand, but maybe the other commissioners, it'd be great to let them know who's on the committee.
Oh, sure. So we have, there's 5 members that are on the committee. And they represent city council positions across the county, and they're from various cities of various size and geographic locations. So we have representation from city of Pendleton, city of Milton Freewater, city of Ukiah, Echo, and Hermiston on our committee. So a full range covering the county. And those positions, you know, may change as time goes on and people, you know, go off city council, we may get new members of the committee. So, yeah, great question. So here are the recommendations of the committee. The first one is Eastern Oregon Visitors Association. They're proposing to do a self-guided driving tour of several locations in Umatilla County. And so the committee's recommendation was to fund them for $10,000. We have a request from Holden Parts Boutique in Milton Freewater. They are doing some building improvements and enhancements for their business. They're recommended for $5,500. Sager Shoe Shop, they're doing a window replacement project. They're seeking, or they've been recommended for approval for $19,000. Stage Stop Motel and RV, which is in Ukiah. The committee would like to award them $10,000 for improvements to that facility. Stay Around Donuts and Pies, they were seeking $25,000, but the committee would like to award $20,000. Sweet Bee Honey Company is working on a pollinator trail system, which would enhance agritourism in our area. They were seeking $9,000, but the committee would like to award $1,500. And then White Eagle Grange Hall, which is just south of Pendleton, they are seeking funds for a flooring replacement project, and they would like to award that group with $3,280. So for a total of $69,280, which is the recommendation of the committee.
I was very surprised. I mean, I think that the projects that have been funded are truly worthy. I mean, I think that the committee did a great job. Well, my question is, how did they decide on some of these? Because to me, some of these are equal. They're equal to equal. And you know, how did they?
Yeah, so it's a really difficult decision. That we had some very quality applications. The committee started out, there's criteria built into this application. The items have to be tangible, something that's going to be lasting. And And then we also have that category of community development and economic development. So as I mentioned in the past, the committee's really focused on funding community development projects. And so this time around, I think they were more focused on the economic development side of things and helping some of our businesses out. The other considerations with this grant is we don't fund events with these dollars. Again, they want it to be something that's lasting in our communities. And we also had some requests that were repeat requests that we've had before, and we've actually funded some of these projects in prior cycles. So the committee, I think, eliminated those from further consideration and then worked from there to make their decision.
Just to add to that, I think the other thing, Bob, is that I think that our community development department does a good job of, when they go through these, even though this group may not fund them, but these guys will give them feedback, those unfunded ones, feedback on where there is available dollars that they could apply for, all the way from just wherever. And these guys do a great job of referring it to other opportunities.
Thanks for that, Dan. We, when we reach out and provide the notification of the decisions, there were several grants in here that we thought would be really good fits for other programs. One example is like emergency management, maybe with one of these requests that we saw that we weren't able to fund with our dollars, but there might be, we think there's a really good opportunity for them to access some of these other funds.
I would move for approval, I'm sorry. I'd move for approval for the disbursement of the funds following the approval of the community development, community and economic development grant committee of $69,280.
Motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Thanks, Bob. Would you pass along our thanks to the committee?
Yeah.
It's a lot of hard work, and they did a very good job with those requests, so we appreciate that very much. Number 4, reader board trailer.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tom Fellows, Public Works Director. What we brought before the board today is the purchase of a variable message sign that would be trailer mounted. We currently have one, and we've had it for a number of years, and it's still very useful, but it's becoming less and less reliable. We saw the opportunity to purchase this particular one. It's the same brand that the emergency management has purchased recently for their program. So what we're asking is to purchase this reader board trailer from All Traffic Solutions in the amount of $15,035.41.
Any questions?
No, but I would move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion, a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carries.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Item number 5, maintenance payable.
Morning, Commissioners. Dan Lanai, Director of Administrative Services. And before you is a payable for HVAC repairs, courthouse here. Or in the amount
Shocked
of-
I am to see an HVAC repair at the courthouse on our agenda.
Yeah,
Sorry, Dan.
$5,408.
I move for approval.
Just a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Carries. Maintenance elevator payable.
The next one before you is for the elevator at Stafford Hansel. Right now, the main elevator is not operating. We have a control board that is on order, that is dead, and payable is for $9,300 for the board and to replace the board.
The elevator's not working right now?
Is it working now?
I think it is.
Oh,
I think,
Yes. I thought we
We're waiting for the part to come in, so
I know, but I thought Otis had
temporary fix today.
We moved some people for one day I was there, and it sounded like they were gonna have it.
I know we were moving people and using the back elevator at that, and so, all right,
Use that. We just helped them up the stairs, but, I was under the impression that it's working.
and I'll check.
That was my understanding too.
Things have been a little,
Yep.
not flowing very.
Got
Got it. Thanks, Dan.
I have a question on that. Dan, do you have to have Otis come in and, or?
So it has to be, the license, the way everything works, it has to be them,
Right.
basically. Yeah,
Okay.
there's all sorts of laws and regulations and liabilities tied to it, so.
If you do have a chance to dig in that a little bit, Dan, I remember when we did the maintenance contract with them last fall or whenever it was, we had a discussion on the warranty, what that covered. I don't know if it covers the,
Mostly it does not cover electronic
I
equipment.
was gonna say, does it cover the motherboard? Gotcha.
I move to approve payable to Otis Elevator Company in the amount of $9,300.
The second, all for the motion, say aye. Aye.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, commissioners.
Item 7, board meeting schedule.
The second board meeting in June falls on a holiday, and so the request is to move it up one day to the 18th at 1:30 when there are
I move to reschedule, I'm sorry. Oh, you did? I'm sorry.
I just got
You're telling me to do it.
Tell you.
Second.
Okay, motion is second, all for the motion, say aye.
Aye. Bossy.
Number 8, city utility agreement.
I know better.
This relates to the central pipeline project. This is an agreement with the city of Umatilla to allow the city to utilize a portion of the pipeline to connect with the city pipe to deliver water to an industrial account. The staff for both the city and the county have been negotiating this for some time, and what's before the board is the latest version.
Much work you've put into this, and thank you very much. With that, I'm going to make the motion to approve the agreement with the city of Umatilla for the carriage of water utilizing the central pipeline and authorize chair to sign.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All for the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carries. Okay. With that, we've hit the end of our agenda. Commissioner Tibbs, any final thoughts?
You're not.
Anything else you want to say about the junior show?
You know what? I am always amazed at the amount of volunteers it takes to put on. And I know Dan's going to a board meeting tonight for county fair. And, you know, you look around at all the time and effort people put in. I mean, they're volunteering their time. to Put these shows on for these kids. And, yeah, my hat's off to them. I mean, they just don't sign up to be on the board and it's a one-night deal. I mean, it's a year-long commitment.
But the parents too.
And the parents too.
Yeah.
That's right. Bob can attest to that. And
If
there's-
I know Bob, and if you're like most parents, you don't just help your kid, you help all the kids.
So true.
Yeah.
I think that is just said perfectly, but I think what it does tell you is, I think it's why we love living in Umatilla County. It is probably one of the greatest pillars of strength that Umatilla County has when we have discussions. Bob and I are traveling with visitors today, and when you can explain those type of functions in this county and the multiple ones that happen, it's easy for those people to understand it's a community that they would like to be a part of. So,
That is so
It is foundational. The people of Umatilla County are the reason that this county is looked up to by many, many, many others, the state.
Final thoughts. I know yesterday we were at the 10% return rate for ballots, so I highly encourage those who have not voted to vote, turn in their ballot. Mine's been turned in, if you can tell by my sticker. So we turned ours in this morning.
You know what's really sad about that? I thought that Umatilla County was just really dragging the statewide, according to the Oregonian, statewide, it's at 90% of unreturned ballots. That is not good.
Yeah, it's.
With 6 days
to
left.
vote. Yeah.
Well, signs are still popping up because from Milton Water to Pendleton this morning, there were more signs out on the
Sure
road.
there are. There's still, I mean, there's 90% of the voters haven't
Haven't
made a
turned it in
decision.
yet.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
We're chasing that vote. All right, with that, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.